It's only 6 weeks since 300,000 Australian children took their first steps through the school gate. For many of their parents, along with the usual tears and butterflies, can be a niggling doubt. Is their child ready? And if you're looking for reassurance that you've made the right decision, the latest research doesn't help. Send them too early and they may never catch up in academic results or self-esteem. Start them later and they're more likely to be the success of the classroom, not just in their first year, but for the rest of their school life.
Got him?
Callum Godfrey is clever and inquisitive.
C-A-L.
And every waking moment, he's wonderfully busy. This almost 5-year-old could have started school this year, but for one reason. His mum, Alison, decided he wasn't ready. And did you have any opposition to your decision?
No, not at all. Every single person we know who knows Callum, particularly all of the teachers that we know, said, hold that kid back.
I don't want him in my classroom.
Yeah, please don't send him yet.
Callum is a victim of his own exuberance and of being born at the wrong time on the school calendar.
Try that.
He is eligible for school this year because he turns 5 before the New South Wales end of July cut-off. Across the country, your child can start school if they turn 5 by a certain date. But they must be enrolled by the year they turn 6. Given the choice of starting early or waiting, more and more parents are deciding to wait the extra year. What do you reckon is the right age to send children to school?
For my child, he needs to go when he's 6, not when he's 5.
And why is that?
Academically, he's great. Socially and emotionally, he's just not there. He can't sit still. If he was in a classroom, he would want to jump up and run around and he would disturb the other kids.
Good morning, amazing people.
Good morning, Mr. Stella.
13 days into 13 years of school life, and to my eye, these young ones are doing fantastically well.
Dominic, can you come up and circle an S on the board? Everybody watch, might be your turn next. Good boy.
But with the ages of the students in this kindergarten class ranging from 4.5 to 6, it means there's also a range of different abilities. And not surprisingly, the older kids often outscore the younger ones.
There are 1 or 2 children I noticed in the class would find it hard to focus. Some have their language skills when I talk to them are not as advanced as others. And some find it harder to play with other children. So these are the little kinds of warning signs.
After 36 years as a principal in primary schools, no one knows more about when to start educating kids than Warren Hopley. Is it good for those children to be here?
It's not always great, no. We don't always make the right decisions. And I have my own daughter, was a May birthday, and my wife, and she's now 33, and my wife and I still discuss whether we made the right decision.
For most parents, sending their kids to school for the first time is one of life's more significant milestones, and often an emotional reckoning that their babies are growing up just too quickly. But exactly when to send them has become the talk at the school gate. International research says forcing a 4.5 or 5-year-old into structured learning in the classroom when they're not ready could even lead to a lifetime of failure for the child.
They can't live up to their full potential. So 4.5 for many children is not, they're not necessarily ready for that reading and writing process. That language development hasn't quite got there, but we're pushing them into things where there's a readiness is not quite right.
Put your hands together.
Yay!
Oh,
Good
look
catch.
at that.
Jason Ackermanis is not just an outspoken AFL legend. He's also a husband to Megan and father to 8-year-old Charlotte and 4.5-year-old Sienna.
Does anyone want a kick?
And like many families, they too struggled with the school readiness dilemma. When the decision came to sending your eldest daughter to school, was that an easy one or a difficult one?
No, it wasn't easy at all.
It was easy for me, and it was difficult for her.
Yeah, it took
Basically.
me years.
It did.
Yeah, 3 years of thinking and talking and pondering and, yeah, to try and work out what to do.
And what was your decision?
Whatever she said. 2 years, I had no worries. What were we? Oh, yeah, okay.
What about me?
They joke about it now because they're sure they made the right decision to hold Charlotte back, to protect the mind and spirit of their beautiful, bright daughter.
From an academic perspective, we weren't worried about that at all. She could have gone, you know, when she was 3 or 4, it wouldn't have mattered. But the most important thing for me was her social and emotional skills, because I wanted her to feel secure when she was at school and safe, so that then she could tackle the academic side of things.
Has it worked?
Oh,
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it says it's an F.
If Charlotte went to school earlier, there would have been nearly a year and a half's age difference between her and the oldest child in the class.
When you're 4 and 5 years old, I feel like that's a huge difference, and I just felt like the gap was just too large, and so I didn't want her to be one of the younger ones. And the confidence, you know, that they lose sometimes from not experiencing success in those early days can be really shattering. Yeah.
It is a huge consideration for mothers. How can I better my child?
Were you ever seduced by that idea?
No.
Why
No.
not?
I think you have to believe in your children.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Is school the best thing ever?
Yes.
7-year-old twins, Poppy and Zinzan, were just 4 years and 9 months old when they went to school. For their mum, Fiona Hayden, there was no reason for holding her children back, despite it being such a hot topic.
Backpacks on your back, hats on.
2 years on, she's still happy with her choice.
You can't give them that fear to start off with. Oh, we'll hold you back because you're smaller. We'll hold you back because you're younger. You want your children to believe in themselves. You can do it. And we will back you.
Are we thinking too much about it? Are we?
Absolutely.
Are we?
Yes, absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Because if there is a major issue, you can always repeat them.
The economic truth for some parents is they simply can't afford the extra year of costly childcare.
Can you pass the books around, Chip? Just here to your little group.
Flowers.
So you can see the lily pads and the flowers, yep.
And so are forced to send their kids ready or not.
I see rocks in the pond.
Their comfort has been the long-held view that by year 2 or 3, the stragglers in the classroom no longer struggle. Warren Hopley says, think again.
I often say that to parents. Why are you taking the risk? What's the advantage in it?
And why are they?
Oh, I think that they feel that their child's okay and that it's really not as bad as it's made out to be, and they feel their child's quite bright, really. But they don't always see their child in the context of other children like I can on a daily basis.
The counter to what you're saying is that there is other research that says kids catch up and that eventually they're fine. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
They don't catch up.
No, I think that there is a gap, and the gap is dangerous if we don't do something about it.
Dangerous.
I think dangerous is a fair word to you, yeah. I wouldn't like my child to be the youngest in the class and for 13 years. Boys and girls are different, right? And it's okay to say that.
For boys, it's even tougher. Warren says when they start school, they're already 6 to 12 months behind the girls.
The further research is showing that the boys don't necessarily catch up until they're 18 or 19 and sometimes into their mid-20s. What
is the trouble with boys?
You're asking a very big question.
I know.
And there's lots of good things about boys. I think boys are great, but the crisis is, at this stage is really around their social and emotional development.
Here at St Mary's Primary, a Catholic school in Sydney's inner west, they're addressing and embracing the differences of age and gender by trying a new style of classroom and teaching in kindergarten.
Did you build those towers? What were they for?
Along with the conventional, there's time set aside to learn through play, which is especially beneficial for active boys.
Not have too much water in there, not too less in there.
Boys are given all this testosterone, all this energy, and it's telling them, get out there and run and use it up, this gift we've given you. And then we sit them in a classroom behind a chair and a desk all day. Like, that's just not reasonable. So, but when you engage boys and you give them choice and you give them relevance about what they're learning, well, they can use this energy and turn it into something great.
But even when boys love what they're doing, age makes a difference. And it's been scientifically proven on the unlevel playing field of sport. By looking at the birth dates of AFL players, researchers have found that many more of the best players were born in the first 3 months of the year. When they joined the under-6s, they were the oldest and often the biggest in their age group. That advantage has stayed with them into adulthood, all the way through into the professional league. Now, the bad news is, if you're born at the end of the year, so therefore the youngest and sometimes the smallest, you're less likely to make it into the big time. And you might have guessed it, the supremely confident and successful Jason Ackermanis is a February baby. As a former Brownlow medalist and now player and coach with the North Albury Hoppers,
these handballs, they've got to get out. We're going too high, get taken out.
Jason Ackermanis has clearly benefited from having age on his side. So if you're that much bigger and that much more mature and you're born in the first 3 months of the year, you can be a sports superstar.
If you're a recruiter, you can just completely look at that. You know, you could almost target test them. You could almost target those guys.
In a world where success seems defined by birth date, Callum Godfrey doesn't know it yet, but his future is being meticulously planned.
That's good.
And what he faces in 13 years is another reason he's not putting on a uniform today.
What happens when he's in year 12, and do we want him to be 18, or do we want him to be the 17-year-old kid who's going around begging people to buy him alcohol, who is going to get into a lot more trouble and do things illegally? I think I'd rather take the choice that he was more mature and that he was doing it legally.
We all want to protect our children, but is this an extension of cotton wooling? Isn't life a little bit about not always being the best, not always being the leader, not always being the oldest?
That's true, but I don't think it's about cotton wooling them. What we want to do by sending him late is to just give him the best chance to be the best Australian he can be.
To wait or not to wait? That is the agonising question for parents.
Wait, said Susie.
Because when the school bell rings, we all want our children to thrive. For more and more, that means an extra year at home.
He's going to go when he's absolutely ready, that we're not pushing him into something, and that when he is ready, we know that he's going to love it.
Hello, I'm Sarah Abo. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.